Okay, that is going now. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Hamster Strike Simulator 2024. Joining me, StarPrincessHLC,
Hamsters.
JK Lantern,
That's a squirrel.
and Laylam.
The four dark devas of destruction.
I don't think Gundam would look too kindly on what I've been doing to the hamsters in my head.
I am baby. Hear me roar.
Don't stop. Cease. Desist.
Don't stop? Okay.
No.
But Gundam's not on the list.
Please.
He gets to live.
Okay. So, it's been 2 weeks since we last recorded anything for this, and once again, the hamsters in my head worked overtime and now they're on strike. So, I'm going to point out something in the game here. The game has given us the first goddamn scene.
It has.
In that whole thing where Natsuno and Kitaro were up in space and they were talking about, they were talking about colonizing and such.
Yes.
Wait, that's the first
That's
scene?
the first scene in the game.
No, okay, that's the first scene in the game, but like that's like the in Mia's rest situation, like leading to a flashback, right?
Well, I mean, from there it probably goes on somewhere, because if you look slightly ways down the line, event number 9 is when they're in the UFO, which is several years earlier.
Yeah, so that scene has nothing to do with anything. So that's just like the prologue. Like, remember that time we almost died? Like, that's what I'm assuming it is.
Except, okay, you're going to have to hear me out and realize that A, I don't really know what I'm talking about because I don't know the full scope of this game.
Welcome to 13 Sentinels. Arcane Griffin has said much the same thing in her private playthrough.
So, here is a little bit of dialogue that comes from this scene. Natsuno says, they're all worked up about our machines, and the they is an ethics committee that's been previously mentioned. Their, meaning the machines, self-replication is what's making the board nervous. And she quotes them, may lead to the invasion of intelligent life, unquote, or something. To which Kitaro replies, they're worried about a war with aliens that might not even exist? Okay, let's put a pin in that for a second. And then we bring up another sentence from a little bit later in there. Kitaro, as he's been talking about, because if you remember that scene, he brought up the whole, he's been reading about World War II, or as they call it, the Pacific War. And he said, if I could pick an era to be born in, I'd live around then.
Hang on. Are we sure that...
Okay, so go ahead and just absorb that for a second. So what were you going to say, Layla?
Are we sure that the Pacific War and World War II are the same thing?
Yes.
Yes.
That is what Japan refers to World War II as, yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Because it's 1940s Japan, the war in the Pacific. Which was how Japan saw it, because all the fighting happened on islands in the Pacific Ocean.
For them, it was in the Pacific Ocean and conquering East Asia.
Yeah. So, hang on. We're going to go on a little ride here.
Oh, I'm buckling in.
Okay.
I'm buckling in.
So let's talk about the machines that Natsuno brings up and the ethics committee has a problem with. it's not explicitly stated, but it sounds like we're talking about nanomachines.
Son.
Especially with the whole bit about self-replication. Because there is a theory out there that if you built nanomachines that could self-replicate and build material, build out of anything they could get their hands on, there's a thing called the Grey Goo scenario that could happen where they turn everything into nanomachines that only have the instruction to build more nanomachines.
I've seen that playthrough of Sim Earth, damn it!
There you go. It's a theory out there, and, well, we can't really have that because, A, nanomachines of that scope are way beyond our tech level, and B, you can't really have anything that small turn matter into other forms of matter. Just to put it out there, you can't really... We are nowhere near the level of being able to actually do it, but apparently they're able to self-replicate here. So, given the fact that during the combat scenarios, what do we see the Kaiju do a whole lot of? We see them spit out hordes of little bitty guys as they're fighting, which means they are self-replicating. So, if you look at that, the machines that Natsuno has been, that she was talking about there, could the Kaiju be directly related to those? Which would mean that the Kaiju aren't an alien presence, but they're a man-made threat that got out of hand. Okay, that's a little bit here. Also the fact that by 2187, Keitaro says an alien fight that may not even show up. Kind of inferring that there hasn't actually been an alien attack yet. At least at that point, at 2187, there hasn't been anything going on like that. Does all this make sense?
This was at. Do you want me to give you a window into the Landstar playthrough?
Can you just
without
wait?
spoiling anything?
Just wait, because I've got a lot more to go through here.
Okay.
Now we know nanomachines exist in the Sentinels. We know this.
Mm-hmm.
It's been mentioned several times that the nanomachines go into the pilot's brain and allow it to sync up, and in some cases this drives the pilot crazy. But, hear me out a second, because this is going to tie into something else. There was a conversation that happened very early on in the game. We are talking during Juro's prologue. And it wasn't explicitly a conversation, but that's how I'm counting it because it was dialogue spoken by characters. If you remember the scene when Juro and Kyuta are standing on the street, and Keitaro walks in with his forehead glowing, and Juro touches it, and the little green glow transfers from Keitaro to Juro. Something that hit me was because Kyuta said Okino's code.
Oh.
Which meant code transferred from Keitaro to Juro. Now,
You mean Okino?
Okino wrote code
Okay.
that was in Keitaro,
Okay.
and by Juro touching Keitaro, the code transferred from one to the other.
Mm-hmm.
Which Kyuta said, goddamn, added a forced activation protocol. So, hang on a sec. This brought to mind that we have two possible reasons for this happening. And both of them have some backup, but not a ton in one direction. It's mostly in the other direction. We'll go with the one that has the most, I guess, evidence, quote unquote, the most things I can actually attach pins to. A, nanomachines are actually able to transfer code like that, which, okay, fair enough. Or B, and something Layla said really goddamn early on, in that Layla said, this is all a simulation.
What? When did I say that?
It was really early on. It was like I think it was like episode 2 or episode 3. I just heard you blurt out, this is all a simulation.
What? I might have been joking when
You might have been joking when you said it, but considering we just had code transfer from living organism to living organism, and we are talking computer code, it transmitted like a virus would. Like, actual bacteria or a virus would. Which meant either nanomachines jumped from one person to the other, or somehow this is a simulation and their program swapped code.
Okay, that would also explain how the kaiju are both a movie thing and real. Because my number one theory was that there are two universes, and one of the universes is the cinematic universe of the Deimos movies.
Could be. But the nanomachines thing has a lot more credibility given this whole situation, because we know nanomachines exist. Mm-hmm. However, here comes the ride part of this, where I'm extrapolating out. 2187, we've got an ethics committee that's terrified of self-replicating nanomachines. And given that nanomachines, generally, the purpose you build nanomachines for, at least in most sci-fi scenarios, you build them to build things. You build them as construction equipment, in a sense. In real life, we do more medical things with them, but in science fiction, you have these, they build things. So in 2187, you've got an ethics committee that goes, oh, we don't know about this. What if? And go with this ride. Go with a little bit of a ride here.
Oh, I'm going.
What if in 2187, 2188, 2189, Natsuno, Keitaro, and a group of others got together and said, okay, we're going to design the worst case scenario test and see what happens. So they programmed this whole thing. And the thing is, they've got to either keep everyone involved. They've got to reduce everyone's foreknowledge about everything, so they can't know. But they programmed this whole thing about where, okay, let's say the nanomachines got corrupted, infected, or rebellious, and decided to start attacking humanity from their starting point of being construction nanomachines. So, what if in 2187 they set up this huge scenario to where they hit, okay, it's the worst case scenario, they're attacking us, how can we respond to it? Which links up the whole, okay, this is all a simulation because, well, we're testing things out. But why everybody has no memory of it, it's like, okay, we've got to have everybody at a baseline level of knowledge and technology, so we're going to send them back in some form back to different points in history and see what happens. So, hey, Keitaro, you know how you wanted to live in 1940s Japan? You're going to be born in that era now with your new life. and did that with a whole lot of other people. The only thing is, I don't know who's in on it and who's not, obviously, because we've only seen 2 people that have been involved at 2187. But I'm willing to bet that just about anybody who actually pilots a Sentinel is involved in this somehow. And keep in mind that the kaiju we've seen in the game are all based on like construction equipment that gained weaponry as it went along. So if nanomachines started out as construction equipment and decided to rebel against humanity, that would be the natural technological path of progression. They take what they already had construction ideas for and modify it to include weaponry that fights back.
Just like the enemies in Descent.
So yeah, the whole bit about Kyuta saying it was Okino's code that did this at the very beginning had been chewing at me for a while, and I couldn't quite wrap my mind around why. But as you've heard, a couple of options have now surfaced in me, and they're going to be things that are going to eat away at me just like that did.
Sherman, don't jump.
So I have absolutely no evidence aside from what I've extrapolated from things we've seen. I'm probably dead wrong on this, and everybody's going to laugh later. You guys are going to play this back later and goes, remember when you thought this? Wrong. You know.
Why do you think I'm taking notes?
I know. But, yeah. This is what's been eating at me for the past couple of weeks. So anyway, now that I've spent 17 minutes doing that.
17 minutes.
That was 17 minutes.
Everyone.
That's a completely separate episode in and of itself. Enjoy, everyone. And again, if you're in the comments, do not put spoilers down telling me where I'm wrong or right. We will find out as this Let's Play continues.
Yep.
Which speaking of continuing...
Again, I'm taking notes, and some of this is going to be really funny later, and you folks in the comments know, and I know, but they don't know. So don't tell them.
I mean, I am dying to know how right or wrong I am, but I can't ask because that would spoil things.
Yep.
So...
You go ahead.
I got to close my door really quick. Hang on.
Okay.
Okay.